Sleepy Joe is at it again. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist that keeps an eye on the 2A space, and this is John Crump News, where I report on 2A news. Today, we're going to be talking about the president and his efforts to stifle your gun rights, because that's exactly what he is doing. This morning, I woke up and I looked at my emails, and I got an email showing what Joe Biden will introduce today in Monterey, California. He is giving a speech out there, and he is going to announce some executive actions on guns. So let's go ahead and talk about what he's going to do. The first thing he's going to do is order the Department of Justice and the ATF to redefine what it is to be in the business of selling firearms. He's doing this to try to move us towards universal background checks. Basically, right now, in most states, you can do a private transfer. Let's say if you buy a gun a few days ago or a month ago or a couple years ago and you want to sell that gun, you can sell it through a private transfer and not have to pay an FFL to run a background check or anything like that. What he's trying to do is change it to make it so almost all sales of firearms would be considered being in the business of selling firearms. This is to cut down on the number of private transfers, and he's open about this. He says he wants to move us towards universal background checks, and this is one way he is going to move us towards universal background checks. The second executive order will create a PR campaign for extreme risk protection orders, also known as red flag orders. What these are going to do is teach people how to red flag their neighbors, relatives, and whoever else is permissible under the law. The problem with red flag laws is that there's no due process. Basically, there is an ex parte hearing where a judge only hears from the plaintiffs and not the defendants on why someone should have their rights stripped. And that is a violation of due process. And I'm pretty sure that the Supreme Court or someone will eventually knock this down, because there is a presumption of innocence in this country. But with red flag laws, there is no presumption of innocence. It's like Trump said, take the guns first and worry about due process later. Biden will also call on the Department of Transportation to work with shippers to prevent the theft of firearms and also the reporting of firearms during transportation, which doesn't sound like a bad deal until you realize what he is probably going to do is try to pressure shipping companies to make shipping firearms more expensive, therefore cutting down on the number of people that can buy firearms, because that will drive up the price of firearms. It's just one dirty, underhanded method that the White House is planning on taking. And you need to know about that, because you need to know about every dirty trick that they will be taking. Another thing that they are going to be using is the military and military contracts. Imagine this. The military tells Colt or whoever, we will not buy your firearms, or I guess SIG, we will not buy your firearms unless you stop selling these firearms to the public. And that is a lot of pressure on these companies, because a lot of their bottom line is based on military and police contracts. That could put undue pressure on them to stop selling to you and me in the civilian market. They are also targeting use of military imagery in ads, which I think is a violation of the First Amendment if you crack down on that. But he is ordering the FTC to look into that. Now let's talk about FFLs. What he's going to do is order the ATF to release all information on violations of FFLs. This includes little paperwork violations. And I know where this is coming from. A while ago, GOA FOIA'd the FOIAs. So basically, they FOIA'd the FOIAs of the anti-gunners and found out what they are doing is looking for violations of FFLs in order to sue them. And this is going to make that a lot easier for them to do, which is a scary thing, because it's going to help a outside organization that's not tied to the government to sue FFLs out of business, which is a very, very scary proposition. Now, let's talk about what's called the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. What this database does, it takes the spent casing of a cartridge and matches it against the database of other cartridges to figure out what type of gun is used in a crime or what gun was used in a crime. And the president wants all law enforcement agencies to use this database. I'm not sure how they will use this for an anti-gun move, but I'm pretty sure that they will. If you know, let me know down below in the comments, because I'm really curious about this. Now, let's talk about the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. The president will lean on agencies to implement the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, also known as Cornyn-Murphy, within 60 days. And he will use these laws to the fullest extent of the government to infringe on gun rights. During the debate over this law and also the subsequent fallout, there were certain people in the gun community that said that, hey, this is no big deal and we should just accept it because it is a compromise. Certain organizations also said that and said that the people that are complaining about it are just raising hell for no reason or for donations and stuff like that. And now we are seeing the chickens coming home to roost. So next time one of these organizations says, hey, this is no big deal, just remember what's going on here. Now let's go ahead and move on to the other two things that the president will order. He will order a FEMA-like setup for mass shootings, basically supplying food, medical, mental counseling, anything that the victims of mass shootings needs. My problem with this is it doesn't apply to all tragedies, and also what happened in Palestine, Ohio? Not Palestine, Ohio. It's actually Palestine, Ohio, where a train derailed, spilling massive amounts of toxic chemicals into the atmosphere. The governor of Ohio asked for a FEMA emergency response, and he was denied while we give billions to a foreign government to fight a war. I'm not even against the war in Ukraine, but still, you got to take care of your own people before you take care of people halfway around the globe. Now, let's talk about the update of the Undetectable Firearms Act of 1988. This is ridiculous. Back in 1988, Die Hard 2 came out, and John McClane said that the bad guys had Glock 7s, not 17s, Glock 7s, that were undetectable through metal detectors because they were made of porcelain. That was a total lie. It was just for Hollywood. Yet Congress jumped on that and passed the Undetectable Firearms Bill of 1988, which said that firearms had to be detectable and they were targeting polymer guns such as the Glocks. So they want to update that. And that got me thinking, because they said because the new polymers that are out and the new polymer firearms are out. So what could that mean? Could they be trying to regulate P80s? Well, they kind of already done that with the old bill rule thing that they passed. So what could they be talking about? I'm pretty sure they're talking about 3D printed firearms, which is kind of scary for my 3D printer brothers out there. All right, guys, that is it. Just wanted to inform you of everything that is going on with this bill. If you like what I do here, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And if I earned your subscription, I would be grateful if you subscribe and also turn on all notifications, even though YouTube will probably not notify you anyway. I also have a Patreon, locals, and other ways you can support the channel. You can also just hit that channel membership button or give a super thanks. That would mean a lot to me, and it would make me cry if you actually did that. All right, guys, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keeping the fight. I am out of here. Wolverines, motherfucker.